Hickens got big plans for the GPF. Elderly woman ran over by trash truck. Demerara toll booth commission. And why the government should build communities and not housing schemes. I am Noriko Bulford, and this is Uncut News. Do you see news happening? Send us a tip on WhatsApp at 592-659-6151. The police force plans to establish several specialized policing units, including an oil and gas unit to address security for the sector, and an aviation unit to respond to crimes in the hinterland that would otherwise take a day or more to reach. A risk management unit, a behavioral unit, and a monitoring and evaluation unit are also in the works. Police Commissioner Clifton Hicken related that these strategies will also be developed to improve the transparency and to track the force's operations. To improve transparency and to track the force's operation, an issue management system, along with a resource and asset management strategy complemented by a robust fleet management system. That's a lot of systems. Anyway, all of those are being considered. Hicken said that ultimately he wants the force to be self-sufficient, an admirable goal indeed. So to help even further that goal, he said that already established units such as the Marine, Mounted, SWAT, and K9 will be decentralized, thus introducing these units into all police divisions across the nation. However, Hicken did not say when any of these plans will be put into action. Jaguar has yet again failed to get out of having to pay Annette Ferguson $20 million Guyana dollars. With the Demerara full court returning a split decision on Thursday, the High Court's ruling that granted a default libel judgment to Ferguson against him still stands. In her decision, the High Court judge had found that the Vice President did indeed defame Ferguson by falsely accusing her of obtaining a plot of land in an illegal or unethical manner, or at least he questioned it in a manner that would reasonably make one assume that he's accusing her of some malfeasance. Jaguar's legal team has intentions to further challenge the default judgment and, as such, applied for and was granted an 8-week stay of execution by the full court. Jaguar has been fighting this case for nearly 2 years. I'm pretty sure he's actually spent more money fighting the case than the actual fine itself. Oh, if Wrong and Strong were a person. The CCJ has ordered the GRA to repay over $45.1 million Guyana dollars to the Linden Mining Enterprise Limited, also known as Linmine, as wrongfully deducted taxes from its former employee, James Ramsahoye. The CCJ had allowed Ramsahoye's appeal against the tax authority on November 26, 2021, but issued the reasons for its decision only today. In an earlier case, Ramsahoye had been awarded by the Court of Appeals of Guyana damages of approximately $78 million Guyana dollars for breach of contract of service by his former employer. These damages constituted loss of salary for 41 months and pension for the years of 1972 to 1998 plus interest. Now, here's where the story gets weird. In 2004, the GRA wrote directly to Linmine demanding that the company pay $45.1 million for income tax allegedly owed by Ramsahoye for the years of 1990 to 1998. Linmine then paid the GRA the sum by deducting it from the damages owed to Ramsahoye from that previous court case without informing him first. In fact, Ramsahoye found out about Linmine's payment to the GRA only when he sought to enforce the judgment against the company. Ultimately, the CCJ ordered the GRA to repay him $45.1 million, as well as costs in the sum of $32,000 or its Guyanese equivalent. Now it's time to tell you about Best Buy's car of the day. Currently on sale is this 2015 RDA3. It comes with Bluetooth, mug rims, new tires, TV, CD, stereo, fog lamps, electronic parking brake, bar camera, and much more. Buy cash for $5 million, or pay as low as $1 million down with around $90,000 monthly, and it is yours. Call or WhatsApp 662-0844 for more info. Or visit the showrooms at Lot 171 Bitter Street, Queenstown, or Lot 2 Lamar Street. And tell America sent you for this sweet deal. 65-year-old Yvonne Morrison died after she reportedly fell into the path of a Perron Brothers garbage truck on Thursday morning in Beedfield, Sophia. According to the driver, 45-year-old Tulsideas Sugrim, Morris was walking in front of the garbage truck before Sugrim decided to drive around her, and somehow in the process Morrison ended up under the rear wheels of the truck. She was taken to the hospital, where she died later that day. The police say the driver was completely sober at the time, but Sugrim was served a notice of intended prosecution. On Thursday night, a 28-year-old Brazilian national was robbed of 3,000 Ghana dollars by four knife-wielding bandits near the Roraima Inn in Bel Air Park, Georgetown. One of the suspects was identified as a 15-year-old of South Sophia, who was arrested later that night after he and a 17-year-old reportedly shot at the police with an air pistol in Queenstown, Georgetown. The police returned fire with real guns, shooting the 17-year-old in the foot. Two of the suspects managed to escape, whilst those two were arrested. However, around 1 a.m. that same day, multiple officers came under real gunfire after they reportedly attempted to stop a car that was being driven in a dangerous manner. While in the vicinity of Crown Dam Industry, the occupants of the car discharged 2 rounds at the pursuing police vehicle. The car reportedly stopped after police returned fire, and 3 men abandoned the vehicle and fled into the nearby cane field. The police found multiple passport pictures, along with a new Building Society bunk book, several copies of Nigerian passports, and a copy of a Guyanese female ID card in the vehicle. The police are still looking for the 3 men. For the best crotch in Guyana, wait, that should read, for all size of clutch disc and pressure plates for heavy-duty trucks in Guyana, check out Powered Automotive. Get this and other high-quality truck parts at the lowest prices. Visit them at Lot 1161 EE Echoes or call them on telephone number 697-0171. Save big on truck parts at Powered Automotive, the #1 heavy-duty truck parts store in Guyana. The automatic tow booth system at the Demerara Harbor Bridge has officially been commissioned after several weeks of testing. The system uses an RFID strip, which is picked up by scanners installed above the toll booths. Drivers can pay through MMG or through another system facilitated by the Bank of Guyana. Now for today's oil update. Jamaica might become the next Caribbean oil giant, as United Oil and Gas believes there is over 2.4 billion barrels of unrisked offshore oil potential. UOG was awarded an extension on the Walton Morant offshore license by the Jamaican government back in 2021. The company said that it was moving forward in launching its drilling campaign of the Colibri prospect and seeks to unlock the region's potential. The amended Walton Morant license has numerous leads and prospects already identified across 3 separate basins, with 11 wells drilled to date, 9 onshore and 2 offshore, and all except one contain some level of hydrocarbon. It might not be robbery season, but the streets are still mean. That's why you need to get security for your home and business through Sheriff Security Service. Sheriff Security offers well-trained guards, armed and unarmed patrol, marine patrol, K-9 services. These people even got drones. Why? Because your security is their highest priority. You've seen the rest, now hire the best. Hire Sheriff Security Service today. You know what I think is stupid? Tearing down cane fields and other productive farming land to make housing schemes. Now, while the pace of the PPP's house lot program is noteworthy, I think that instead of trying to stuff as many homes onto a plot of barren land as possible, the government should consider building mixed-use communities instead. Each scheme should have areas zoned for farming, for commercial, as well as light industry. In each new housing scheme, they should also build all the standard government services, including schools, police outposts, medical centers, fire stations, a post office, a public park, the whole works. Honestly, this will make the scheme and the neighborhoods around it more attractive to persons, as more people will want to live near it and in it, and will also raise the value of the homes themselves. Now, as a person who has lived in a housing scheme before, I can tell you that the schemes here are horribly planned, and it has a completely different feeling than an old village or a neighborhood. Now, do you know why it feels different living in a housing scheme than living in an old village or neighborhood? Well, it's because the people have roots in these villages, so they have memories with their neighbors and all these good times. Meanwhile, when you end up in a housing scheme, you're just shoved into a piece of bare land with a set of other strangers who didn't even really want to be there. They were just desperate for housing, and they ended up there. And if you ask me, that doesn't sound like a community. That sounds like a hostage situation. Now for our Uncut News Views Poll question of the day. Every day we pose a question about current events in Ghana, the region, the diaspora, and how you feel it relates to us. Last night's question was, how do you feel about Shaunet Bola's case? Do you feel the DPP was right to step in, or should the law have taken its course? Alwyn Jeremiah says the law should always take its course. This lawlessness needs to be addressed. Indeed. Jamal Carroll says the DPP must go. She is not for justice. Why do we have to go to the CCJ for justice? That's actually a good question. Navendra Lal says, I think the justice system in Ghana is owned by the rich and well-known politicians. Yes, Navendra, that's exactly what I'm saying, and it's a damn shame indeed. And finally, RC View Farm says in defense of the justice system, a month ago someone hit and run his brother, injuring him badly, and the court settled the case within weeks, awarding him a month's salary and medical costs. The driver has to lodge the payments at the court to keep him accountable until he pays the full amount. Impressive, right? I am impressed. It truly is a rare, bright moment when things worked out for the common man in the justice system. But my only concern is that the person who actually hit your brother, was he rich or was he poor? Because unfortunately I feel if he was rich, it might have ended a little bit differently. Now, before we get to tonight's question, you can multiply your cash by selling Digicel Top-Up. This is a legit way you can spend money at your business or to supplement your current hustle. Become a top-up vendor quick and easy by linking with Cellular Plus. Call them on telephone number 685-3109 for more info. Now for tonight's question. Right now, the leaders of CARICOM are discussing food security. What are some investment suggestions you would have for them? I want you to think about that question. Tell us in the comments below. If your response is good enough, we just might feature it in our next episode. Anyway, that's all the time we have for tonight, and check us out on Monday for another. Until then, I'm Rico Bullford saying, have a great weekend. And as always, don't drink and drive, or you'll end up on Monday's episode the hard way. Ha-ha! Good night, folks.